When Launch on Demand went looking for the place to put its new spaceport, the Dominican Republic fit the bill in terms of geography and population density. But it also turned out to be a section of the country badly in need of development, which the new facility is designed to provide.
Este mes firmamos un acuerdo histórico con la empresa estadounidense Launch on Demand, LOD Holding, para el desarrollo de un puerto espacial comercial en Oviedo, en Pedernales.
When I saw that the president was doing something in Oviedo, which was my town, I was like, this is a dream. I never in my life imagined Oviedo to be like putting a map.
Launch on Demand wants to make Oviedo into a hub for commercial spaceflight. But first, the company has to build almost everything a spaceport needs from the ground up.
So this is the mayor of Oviedo, and so he's been working with us on all the collaboration of getting everybody together. So everything that you're going to see here, his and his staff have put it together for us.
Muchas gracias. El puerto espacial es un proyecto de vital importancia para nuestra zona. Eso va a ayudar en la economía, va a ayudar en la educación, va a poner al municipio de Oviedo, la provincia de Pedernales, la región y el país a nivel mundial en los ojos. Y de verdad que es un proyecto que le agradecemos al señor presidente Luis Abinader que lo haya puesto a la luz, pero es un proyecto de mucha importancia que le da importancia a nuestra población, a nuestro pueblo.
This is going to be the Silicon Valley of the Caribbean. It's going to have the power, it's going to have the talent, it's going to have the geography, and those companies that are forward enough thinking from the U.S. side are saying, wait a second, you have a surplus of power, you have land that is available, and your regulatory regime can help us do this.
Catledge sees the potential in the country.
So what we are proposing is a 200 megawatt power plant. Power tends to be a very big commodity when it comes to the space industry, and nothing is bigger than how you fuel the rocket. There's other use cases for the energy, but the biggest one is to make sure that you could fuel the rocket uninterrupted without any problems. And also, if let's say they're fueling 2 or 3 rockets at the same time, we have plenty of power in order to do both.
So besides power, besides the place to keep the satellites until they're ready to go up, what else will be on this site?
Interestingly enough, water is a huge problem for space launches. So the system is called a deluge system. So if you look at a launch pad, you'll often see a water tower next to it. And what happens is whenever the rocket is about to lift off or is lifting off, there's huge gallons of water pushed onto the rocket and onto the infrastructure because it dampens the sound. It's not because of a fire, it's because it dampens the sound, because the sound of the rocket lifting off is so extreme it would shake the rocket apart. And so the water, the deluge system, dampens the sound. So once that water is used after the launch, then it's recycled and it's treated. And so when it's treated, then they have to decide what to do with it. And so we need to have ability to get potable water, so we need a desalination. We also have to have a water treatment facility because after it's done, we're going to treat it, and then we can use it for agricultural purposes. We can use it for lots of variety of purposes for the region. But water is something that we need to get in huge commodities, and basically, when Cape Canaveral was developed, they didn't size the water treatment facility for the size of rockets that are actually there. And so there's a real problem with water treatment.
When you're fully up and running, how many people will work on this site?
I would venture probably about 4,000 or 5,000.
Where are they going to live?
So right now, if you go near Cabo Rojo, which is about 20 miles here, there are resorts being built, high-end resorts, because there is going to be an extension, essentially, of what's going on in Punta Cana. So even since our announcement, the real estate prices have gone up and up and up here because they're like, well, we're going to need this and we're going to need this. So we will have to build the infrastructure for people to live in.
Subject to the retraining or the fine-tuning, does Dominican Republic have enough skilled workers to be able to do the sort of project you're talking about? In addition, by the way, to the hotels and the seaport and the airport?
Yes. The answer is no, and I think that's anywhere you go. This country has been mainly focused on tourism, and as a result, that's where their revenue has been coming. But as they begin to transition and diversify away from tourism will always be an important part of this. But this is really diversification. Now, what I have seen in the last, couple of years is the motivation and the education is there. It really is. You know, that's the hardest thing to sort of capture is, you know, are you interested in this? You know, is this some the topic? Because if you're interested in the topic, I can teach you. So it is not scaled right now where it needs to be.
But has there been any resistance or questioning from the people who live here, or are there so few people living here?
Oh, we had a number of questions. So once the announcement was made in March about this, we started seeing, you know, what were the questions coming to us. Some of it was, well, we don't understand what this project means. And so we came here and we did a town hall, almost probably the third day after President Abinader announced it. And so we explained, look, they said, you don't have power and water. We said, yes, we know. We're going to build power and water. And they said, okay, well, we don't have the talent. And I said, yep, my next stop is we're going to sign an agreement with INTEC, which is the university.
Well, tell us about INTEC.
Sure. INTEC is a technical university, one of the most premier universities in the Dominican Republic. They produce some of the most talented engineers in the world, in the Caribbean, really. And when we discussed, you know, where we were going to get the talent pool from, we wanted to go to the university where that talent was. They have mechanical, electrical, aerospace, all these other engineering and disciplines, technical disciplines that we could leverage. And so we met with the provost and said, listen, we can help you train this workforce. They took it one step further. They said, we're not just going to let you train it, we're going to create a minor. So students can actually participate and learn about the space industry, because after a while, it's going to be Dominicans on console. It's going to be Dominicans that's going to be running the spaceport. You know, we're going to help start it, we're going to help design it, fund it, keep it going. But ultimately, it's going to be the Dominican Republic and primarily the youth of the Dominican Republic that are going to be operating this.
Lorena Rosario is among the early Dominican hires working with Launch on Demand. For Rosario, who was born in the Dominican Republic and now lives in Miami, the announcement was a call to come home.
As soon as I saw the interview with President Abinader, I jumped on it and reached out, and the rest of it is going to be history.
So as you look forward to this being developed and your launch pad being somewhere right around here, what are the issues that you have to address? What are your priorities?
Right now, our main priority will be the regulation, helping the government and also the IDAC create all those regulations. And as Mr. Burton mentioned, the training of the staff and just making this whole project, you know, work together.
For a town long described as forgotten, the promise of a spaceport is not only about rockets. It is about whether Oviedo's next generation can imagine a future closer to home, and whether the project can deliver the opportunities local residents hope it will. How do you think the lives of the people who live here will change?
It's going to change a lot. It's going to change a lot because people here don't have a good income. They live with $150 a month for a family of 4. So it's going to really change their lives. They're going to have more opportunities. The kids are going to have dreams of becoming an astronaut or, you know, try to work with a spaceport, you know, like try to change who they envision. You know, usually here kids don't really know what to dream for. But Launch Demand brought a dream to Oviedo. Oviedo is going to change because of Launch Demand.